I can see a very tough physical game for a large majority of this one. You know what Canberra's going to do. They're going to try and drag them down into that rough and tumble stuff in the middle of the field. Melbourne's best option is to, go play that game for 10 and 15-minute spurts, but then they've got a hell of a lot more creativity in this side than Canberra does. And I just think there's too many points in this Melbourne side, to be honest.
Won 7 in the last 8. Is that luck of the draw, fluke, season over, or they're playing good footy?
Canberra?
Yeah.
No, they've
Canberra.
Definitely improved on what they were producing. You've still, apart from obviously the last week where they just put the Tigers away, who 3/4 of the team just weren't interested, to be honest. You haven't seen them I haven't seen them pull defences apart enough for mine, to be honest. Yeah, they've got some really good, strong outside backs and a really good forward pack, but I just don't see the ball playing out of this Canberra side to get the probably 18 to 20 points that I think they're going to need to beat Melbourne. So.
Yeah. Well, I find it really strange because, honestly, looking at both sides from 1 to 5, you probably give Canberra the edge. You look at the forward pack, and whilst overall I think Melbourne's got a better forward pack, Canberra's standouts. What, Melbourne's forward?
You say Melbourne's better than...
I say Canberra's better.
The back 5?
At least even.
Okay.
I don't know, I just look at it, I think there's a bit more strike out of him. I think Olam's probably Melbourne's main point. We know how inconsistent, how poor Melbourne's 1 to 5 can be at times, but I'm more looking at the forwards as well because overall Melbourne's forward pack, I'd say, has probably been a bit more prominent this season, but whilst that's been the case, I'd say Canberra's best have come from their forwards, obviously Joe Tarpany, Josh Papley, Hudson Young as well. So I'm still going to go with Melbourne. I can't see Canberra winning, but there are areas where if things go a certain way, I think Canberra can win this game. But I feel like it comes back to the spine.
I think Canberra can dominate the middle of the field, to be honest. Yeah.
But I feel like Melbourne, and it'll be through Munster and Harry Grant, to be honest, I feel like putting on a masterclass as they have and sort of being able to overcome all of that and getting Canberra on the back foot early. If they can get Canberra on the back foot early, then I think it's early doors in this one. I feel like Melbourne may win by a fair bit, but I'm going to say Melbourne 13 plus. I'm not going to say it's an absolute space job or anything, but Melbourne to get the job done. Cameron Munster, man of the match. First try scorer, I will go Justin Olam.
Just to play devil's advocate, for Canberra to win this game, it needs to be a wrestle, and they can win this wrestle. I think they know that. They know they've got to get into it. I think the Bromwiches have been largely underwhelming for a couple of months now. And Nelson's carried this pack almost on his own for a big chunk of the last 6 weeks. Kafusi starting and back and fit, big in. But that means that if the Canberra forwards, the props fire here, they will they can set a lovely platform for Canberra to win. If Canberra are going to win, it's going to be 16-10 or something. It's going to be a bludger of a game. Adam Elliott, Young, Tarpane, Puppy could all be tremendous. And when we talk matchups here to touch on them, that's what you're looking at. Your Young against your Kafusis. And even Josh King against Elliott is an interesting matchup, which in both cases there's a strong argument in recent form to make for Canberra.
Yeah, and Elliott's probably got that little bit more explosive power than Josh King. But, King's going to work his backside out. So.
And I'm actually giving Canberra the tick in the front row matchup there, probably convincingly. Halves are interesting. I assume Munster's going to float in and out and be where he needs to be, so they win that one. And look, I'm not quite giving it as a 10-8 round to the back 5, but I know what you're saying, Ollie, in terms of that. But at their best, your Coates and Nofalumas and Olams, to me, still have the Canberra back 5 covered, not necessarily defensively, and their effort has counted in the last few weeks, Canberra. So that all being said, to put a bow on it from my point of view, it just doesn't compute Melbourne losing going out first week of the finals, so I'm going to go 1 to 12 Melbourne. And more spark is a keen. Jerome Hughes is a massive in. So sense of calmness means more franticness from Cam and Grant, and I can see this being maybe a late blowout, but I'm going to go Melbourne 1 to 12. First try scorer, I'm actually going to go with Harry, maybe just burrowing through there, maybe 15 minutes in. And man of the match, there's 2 to choose from. It's only be Munster or Harry, I think, by the time we get this time next week. But I really, maybe it's the chaos agent in me, really wanted to tip Canberra here, but we'll see what happens, Barn.
Yeah, me too, mate. I've really had a real long, hard look at this game, and I do think Canberra will pose problems for Melbourne for some significant time in this game. But
The irony is, if Canberra had have probably ended up against nearly anyone else, I probably wouldn't even given it two thoughts. But they seem to match up really well against Melbourne, as their record suggests.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, as I mentioned previously, I think there's just a fraction more strike in and around the halves. I expect as soon as one of the front rowers from Canberra to go off, you'll see Cheese, if he doesn't start, will be injected, and you'll get that 1-2 punch with Cheese off the short ball to Harry, and then Harry getting out of dummy half and running and getting in and behind Canberra's ruck, which will cause a lot of disruptions there, and then Hughes and Munster play off the back of that. I can see the first try coming off a Jerome Hughes cross kick to Xavier Coates, climbing over the top of Kotrick there to score the first try. And I really want to tip Jerome Hughes to be man of the match, to be honest. Yeah. I think he just adds that calmness. I think you'll see him produce a couple of forced dropouts, and possibly they love that little grubber for Munster to score and a cross kick for someone else to score. He may even run one in himself, because you know how good his footwork is.
He'll score. I would put man on him scoring a try in this game.
He can get inside his opposition half
against
and
run
through and score a try. Yeah. So, I'm going to go Melbourne 1-12, just because I think Canberra will hold them for long enough to keep the scores of 8 or 10 points to Melbourne. And Jerome Hughes first try, man of the match, and Xavier Coates first try.
Lovely.